Last week, just before I went away, we were looking at the potential for a short squeeze taking place, most specifically in the stock market. And then we said that we expect that a lot of the crypto market will likely follow suit. But with that being said, we were first looking for some very short-term pullbacks. Little did I know that there was going to be some sort of geopolitical tensions breaking out, which would cause that pullback, which means that most of the orders that we were looking at last week have now been filled. So in today's show, we'll reassess where things are going to be going next. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into it. One of the orders that we're looking at has fully filled, and it was one of the at least top positions, which I think is going to put in some sizable gains. In fact, I actually think that a 10x gain is completely realistic on this particular altcoin. So stay tuned until the end of the show, and we'll overview what those coins are and how long it could take to put in those massive gains. So let's get straight into it. If we have a look over here on the hourly, a lot of the coins are starting to bounce. And despite the terrible world that we live in with all these geopolitical tensions and wars and things that go on, at the end of the day, you have to understand that we are still here to trade the market, and we need to use that to our advantage. Any sort of the volatility that it does provide us does give us opportunity to fill those orders. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to move in alignment with whatever the overall trend of the market is. And as crazy as it does sound, whenever these terrible things do tend to happen, the prices do oftentimes tend to continue towards the upside, and it does present some of the best buying opportunities. And this is exactly the case. The markets are, very irrational. As the saying goes, the markets can remain irrational longer than what you can remain solvent if you're trading against that trend. So everything pretty much towards the upside over here on the daily. If we look at the weekly, still a couple of coins are still down. Of course, the stock market is going to be a big one to look at later on today, as we do expect that the stock market very soon should be putting in that short squeeze. You can see just multiple candles up in a row. Even if you look at this candle over here, the Israel attack on Iran, not creating too much of a drop, right? We've seen much bigger drops previously in other environments. Just if you look in relative to these candles where nothing actually major happened, these were bigger drawdown days. And basically what this tells you is that, at the worst case scenarios, you're going to consolidate. What's most likely going to happen is you're just going to ultimately breach straight through this level, creating a short squeeze. That's going to create a pump through the rest of the market. Now, there's a couple of other events that might bring in some volatility, one of which is going to be the FOMC, which is coming out later on this week. That's going to be on Wednesday. As it currently stands, you shouldn't expect that there's going to be any rate cuts. In fact, if you look at the target rate, which is 425 to 450, the expectation is the next FOMC is going to be exactly the same, 425 to 450, sitting at almost a 97% probability. Some analysts even believe that they may actually need to increase interest rates, right? So given what's happened with the geopolitical events across the world, that's also spiking the oil price. I'm not going to bring up the oil chart right now. I'll just tell you for what it's worth. It's putting in lower lows and lower highs. It has come directly into resistance, but oil also drastically affects what's going to happen with the interest rates over there. So looking at the liquidity over here, since we are specifically trading Bitcoin and crypto, we should keep our eyes on that particular chart. And what we're seeing over here is more liquidity towards the upside than the downside. And if you can see a break up here to liquidate those short traders at $111,000, and specifically closing price action at that level. So any closing candles above the top of the trading range over here will confirm the breakout. And if you get the breakout in Bitcoin over here, you're going to move into price discovery, and then you're probably going to very quickly see altcoins follow suit. Now, I'm not necessarily advocating that you sell your Bitcoin for altcoins, absolutely not. But if you're looking for a trade, right, simple trade, risk to reward, you put in your risk to reward tool and you're risking a certain amount to gain a certain amount, I think that there is going to be some outsized returns on some of these altcoins, again, in the short term, right? Not necessarily over time against Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin is the ultimate store of value when it comes to crypto, right? If you're measuring your portfolio in Satoshis, well, over time, you want to be holding Bitcoin, but in the short term, yes, there's opportunity for some of those altcoins, which is what we're going to look at in today's show. So potential for a short squeeze over there in alignment with what the stock market is suggesting, and that could come in the next couple of weeks. And if we quickly go back over here, that liquidation over there towards the upside would be enough to break that RSI through the orange line. We got our short-term downtrend there, right? So if we look at the RSI over there, touch point 1, touch point 2. This is our secondary trend line over here. And the main one that we want to be paying most attention to is the white one. If you can breach through this, this could be enough. That RSI move from here to here could be enough to send price all the way up to about $130,000, which is what we're still looking at last week. And that's where we labeled that the party zone. So again, lining it up, short squeeze on the stock market, short squeeze in the liquidity chart over here. If you were to get up to that $111,000 and specifically close there, that would be adequate enough to break you into the party zone, and that would be considered a breakout. Remember, following a big move into a consolidation, the longer you consolidate, the bigger the next upcoming move, which makes sense because you can see also over here, this trend line is rising, right? So the longer that happens, or longer it takes to happen, the higher the move. For example, if you had to break out now, you're going to meet immediate resistance at about $130,000. But if you were to only break out, let's say, for example, in August, well, that could take you to about $140,000. So the expectation is as long as you can keep holding this trading range over here, the tighter and tighter that becomes, the bigger the breakout and more aggressive the move will happen quickly into that party zone for Bitcoin. And if we look at ETH over here, ETH has already wiped out the majority of the downside liquidity. Now we need to see where the next zone of liquidity does build up. So ETH holding up pretty well as well. It's still in the zone, what I outlined on the last show that I did, which I believe was on Wednesday for you guys, where I gave 5 altcoins. I said specifically 5 altcoins, and I gave you a 6th one as a bonus. And one of those 6 altcoins is ultimately what I want to cover in today's show, as an altcoin that's literally a sleeping giant. Insane to ignore, right? I think that it could put in some big moves. You just need to calculate your risk and be brave enough to take that position given the geopolitical tensions which are happening in the world. I see a lot of you, by the way, are getting the coin spot on over here. So congratulations. Very sharp. A lot of you have called it. Some of you are completely off. But a lot of you are in the comment section are getting it over there. Actually, before we do go into those coins, go through to the poll section over here. I'd love for you to vote. Do you think that altcoins will outperform Bitcoin in a durable way? What I mean by that is for, let's say, at least a 4-week period where the majority of altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. Do you think that is still going to happen within this crypto cycle? Yes or no? Make sure you cast your votes over there. And while you do that, also smash the like button. It really helps us to get distribution of the show content. So I'd love it if you could do that. Now, let's continue. So we'll look at ETH in a little bit. Remember, we are in the midst of the bull moon. We've seen the effectiveness of this. Very good. Bull moon, price goes up. Bear moon, price goes down. Bull moon, price goes up. Bear moon, price goes down. We're in a bull moon phase right now, which means if you do get that short squeeze, you're going to break over the yellow line, which we currently attempting to do right now. What is the yellow line? The yellow line refers to your RSI pivot level, which means as soon as Bitcoin can close back above that let's call it 107,000 and be generous to the bears over there. So if bulls can close above 107,000 over there, they take back control. Simultaneously, they'll also be reclaiming back above the 9 and the 18 exponential moving average and maintaining that bullish cross. Remember, they are still crossed towards the upside. So they're still in a bullish posturing over here. You haven't actually crossed them back towards the downside. And you can see the respect for that 50 EMA on the daily time frame, holding and maintaining that. So multiple candle closes above the top side of the trading range will create the breakout. So time will tell. But as it currently stands, bulls are back above the yellow line. We highlighted this as a very significant area where if I just draw a circle around, you can see resistance, and now we're possibly flipping that back into support. The only problem over here is that we are still in a period of declining volume with no real retail interest in the market. Which means that you're completely reliant on ETF buying, all these big funds like BlackRock selling to their clients and encouraging them to get allocated into Bitcoin. And that's basically the only real momentum that we have to drive markets towards the upside. And we need to see that retail interest come back into the market, which I guess is most notably shown by this chart over here, the daily exchange volume, which is attempting to put in a high low. And that's at the zone. We said between 32 and 35 billion. We want to see major support found over there. You are putting in that support over here. We need to see this start to, mark up in a more sustainable way, more aggressive way as well. And the one thing that can indicate whether that's going to happen or not is by looking at our current ecosystem. Our current ecosystem refers to the money that's in the total cryptocurrency market cap, total 2, total 3, others. And then, of course, we can look towards the stablecoin dominance. The stablecoin dominance is very, very, very useful because until new retail come into the market, that's really where that rotational game takes place. Either the money is in stablecoins or the money is exposed in a risk-on fashion. Now, this will tell us what is the majority of the people who have been sidelined doing. Are they about to come back into the market? And we've seen some telltale signs that suggest that you could see a big breakdown in the USDT dominance, which would, of course, mean new money flowing into the crypto markets. And that means possibly depositing stablecoins from their cold wallets back onto exchanges, meaning the daily exchange volume does increase towards the upside. And we see a big spike up over here, and then things should be looking good. And again, similar to Bitcoin breaking and holding above that $111,000, which would break into the party zone, and we look at aggressive markups. Again, guys, this can happen very, very quickly. I do want to remind you, have a look at these candles over here. 1, 2, 3 candles. That can happen in the space of 3 weeks. That Bitcoin could reach into the $130,000 territory, which means that simultaneously you would expect a very, very quick breakdown into the party zone for the USDT dominance. So we need to gain acceptance below the yellow line over there at 4.49%, and that's on your 5-day time frame. If we look at this time frame over here, we still are respecting this bearish chart pattern, essentially a bear flag. Price breaking down, you can see over here, coming all the way back up, massive SR flip region. The USDT dominance is struggling to get back above that, and that's exactly what we want to see off of those fears which occurred over here on Friday the 13th. You can see spiking up into that region. Swing failure pattern came all the way back down, wasn't able to get above, failed the death cross of the 50 and 200 EMA, which is rolling over. And now if we can start to see a little bit of acceleration down, well, this does have a measured move all the way to 3.29%, which would well and truly break you even below the party time zone. That's where things get really, really aggressive if you were to break all the way down into the bottom of that yellow box. So if that is the case, well, I've given the trades, right? And most of the positions were filled. If you actually set the orders, we'll have a look at those again. I'll showcase the areas of interest that we're looking at off of my last show that I dropped over here on, again, Wednesday before I went away on holiday. And we'll see where things are most likely to go next. Just stay until the very, very end of the show. So that's your daily time frame. This is 5-day USDT dominance. This is daily USDT dominance. Now we can look at even lower time frame, and it's really just been range bound despite the chop that's occurred within that trading range. At the end of the day, this is range bound. You can see this was your major support previously, so we mark that as the high. And then over here we have ultimately the low. We've divided that up into a trading range, which you can see again marked with the 50% level. So bears take back control. When I say bears, I mean USDT becomes more bearish if you can break and hold below that 4.67% over there. We want to see that break below. Otherwise, anything in between, that's range low, that's range high. This is all just noise and chop. We need to see for the next big trending move, either this breaks back above the trading range over here, or it breaks back below the trading range. I'm definitely leaning towards a break below the trading range and acceleration towards the downside, therefore breaking into the party time zone for both BTC and USDT dominance. So that's what we're waiting for. And we can see over here on the total cryptocurrency market chart, which looks very, very, very similar to this one over here, but inverted, is the bull flags, the presence of the bull flags. Price moving up, comes back into the bid zone over there. You can see you got a secondary test, potential bump and run scenario. So you have your trend line break, price comes down, bumps, and now you want to see it run, which means you need to see some aggressive price action from the bulls, and you need to see price start to move very, very, very quickly. So 3.3 trillion on the total cryptocurrency market cap is the level to reclaim. That's your 50% of this trading range. Anything holding above that level is a sign of strength for the bulls. Same thing is present on total 2. Needs to get back above 1.19 trillion over there to maintain that. Same story, price breaks out, bump and potential run, right? So you came back into the trend line. Now you need to see it run. Therefore, all invalidations basically can remain below the recent lows that have been formed on basically whatever coin it is that you're looking at. Same story over here on total 3. Price breaks up, bump and potential run. This needs to get back above 882 billion to start to show signs of strength. And then we have others, or just others, which is minusing the top 10 coins from CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Rejection from that 50% level, but broke the trend line, bump, And now we need to see, is this going to run? If it is going to run, your first sign that it's going to run is, again, breaking above that mid-level of the trading range. And understand how these things all line up together. Remember, any of these coins breaking above the 50% level of the trading range is a sign that bulls are taking over. And that means that you should simultaneously see this breaking below its 50% level as well, 4.67%. So all in all, that's looking good. I am preparing to take a whole bunch of new trades. Most of the positions have already been filled. I set those orders, set and forget. I went away on holiday, left those positions as is, and that's it, right? So I checked in this morning. Most of them are in profit. Some of them are about break even because I scale my orders in using grids, right? So other ones that I'm looking to take, I'll share those with you in a minute. There's a couple of things that I think if we do break out in a big way, I think there's certain meme coins that are also going to do phenomenally well. For those of you that are looking for a centralized place to trade, sometimes this is safer as opposed to getting your wallet trained. There's a link in the description below over here for FEMIX. You can see they're doing a $5 million prize pool, which is absolutely enormous. If you click on that link, it'll take you through over here. This is the PWTT prize pool. There's 3 days left to go. So for any of you that sign up using that link, you'll get your sign up bonus. And on top of that, you can join into this massive trading competition. Now, what I wanted to show you is on FEMIX, I have this amazing opportunity where if you go through to spot and you go through to the bottom over here, you can go to MEMX, right? If you click on MEMX, this is a place where you can trade all the on-chain coins that get listed on-chain across the various different chains, right? You have Base, Solana, BSC, etc. You can basically find those coins on here and purchase them directly. So, for example, if you want to go to find any of these coins, we can have a look at, let's see quickly, what should we have a look at? Give me a meme coin in the comment section over there and we'll have a look. One that I was looking at over here is Aura, right? So if you click at Aura, this is one that I want to potentially prepare to buy the dip on. These are newly listed coins. So it makes it easy for you, right? You can go over here, you got your whole chart set up and everything. Let's keep an eye on this one. Mark this off on your watch list. I'm not sure that we're going to get the perfect order. It has been a pretty brutal move over here, but I think that if this does come down into these low regions, and full disclosure, unfortunately, I'm not allocated into this, but I think if any dips come down into this 0.08 to 0.10, I think this is a great opportunity to pick up Aura. So therefore, any moves back down into the purple box, you can basically buy this straight through FEMIX. Everything is linked in the description below and you get your sign up bonus. All right. Yes, Aura needs to come way down. Let's see. I hope so. It had a big move up, right? Huge move up. Anytime that you get these big moves up, it does create inefficiencies. And oftentimes you can even see price draw all the way down back to the origin of the breakout. But sometimes these things can run massively, like another 10x before you even get that move to the origin of the breakout. So anyway, what it's worth, that's one that's on my watch list. Let's see, do they have Goku on here? I wonder if they actually have Goku on here. How is Goku doing? Let's see. Okay, they do not yet have this one listed. Maybe he just needs to put the contract address in. All right, let's continue. So BTC dominance. BTC dominance is absolutely ripping still. But look at this. Look at this. For the first time in a very long time, and I'm just noticing this now, the weekly is starting to put in a bearish cross on the MACD. MACD crossing the zero line. We got the EMAs also starting to roll over with a bearish cross over there. So could it be that we start to put in a little bit of a pullback on Bitcoin dominance? Now, again, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that Bitcoin dominance is going to zero and altcoins are going to outperform for the next couple of months. But in the short term, could you see some outperformance? Of course, absolutely. Any of these moves towards the downside did provide some pretty big moves, right? Even those small little moves over there provided double-digit, even triple-digit gains in certain altcoins. So I think that's something to watch for. Really, Bitcoin dominance has just been caught within this massive parallel channel, pretty tight parallel channel all the way towards the upside. And you can see the last candle on the 5th of May that tagged the top of that trend line pulled back. So will we get one more move up? The ultimate target is the pink box over here between 66.3 and 69.84. But you could see something like this first, right? You could see something like that. Maybe you move back into the midline, one more spike up towards the end of the year, crushing altcoins into September. And then you get a big breakdown towards the end of the year, creating that durable outperformance that you guys are voting for over here. 64% of you said yes, you think at some point it will come. So a lot to look at. Now, we've spoken a lot about Ethereum. The last thing that I left you with was on the daily time frame, where we had ETH in a bullish pattern over here, still respecting these levels. You can see it attempted to break out on Wednesday, the 11th of June, obviously got smacked back down. So a little bit of a fake out over there. But as long as it continues to maintain this trend line, there's still an opportunity that ETH BTC could break out. We got the break of the trend line. You're now breaching through that on the RSI level once again. And what's always important to look at with these RSI levels is where it is relative to the 50% level. 50% levels oftentimes mark major pivot points or turning points within the market. So if you line that up, there it is. There's your 50% level. ETH BTC is attempting to hold that as support. And as long as it can continue to do that, and you can see the actual price action chart break out over here, that could be the indication that, in fact, Bitcoin dominance may actually start to turn over. And if that does, we're going to get some quick moves, some really, really good moves. So the coins that I gave, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what I gave. So we have, of course, ETH USD. We're looking for a throwback into the yellow box. We got exactly that. There it is. Came a little bit lower. Nothing got stopped out. This is the exact setup that I gave you on Wednesday, on the Wednesday show, which was my last show that I did. In profit, everything is looking good. If this does attempt at this high over here, 2,858, this should be the level to break things out. And that has high-term implications. I do expect to move to 3,300 and then probably profit taking. And then you want to see this SR flip into this region. You can see all the prior times that you've tested into this as support. Here you held it as resistance. So the next move up and the throwback into that level, which is again 2,850-ish, that needs to be major support. And that can set things up for the next move up towards the range highs over there. So what else? The other one that we gave was XRP. XRP fully filling all of the orders, coming all the way back into key support, bump and run scenario over here. Price breaks out, similar to what I've shown you on total 1, 2, and 3. Price breaks out, comes back down, bumps. Now will it run? Well, if Bitcoin dominance does break down, then we would expect that should actually run. One thing we need to look at before we go through the rest of this is let's quickly go through into the Discord. By the way, in the Discord over here, if you guys aren't following me on Instagram, if you want to ever keep up with the shenanigans of Dubai and holidays, there is a link below over there. I was updating everyone every step of the way. But anyway, let's go through to the institutional chart section over here and just see what's going on in terms of the liquidations. So as you can see, again, supporting the notion that there's a possibility for a short squeeze. Basically everything across the board on these altcoins. We got BTC, ETH, Solana, we got SUI, we got Sonic, and we have POPCAT, all negative deltas. What that tells you is that this is looking at the Binance perpetual order book, which means that most of those traders are currently running shorts. So oftentimes when coming into key support, we look to counter trade that. If you're coming into key support and you're showing that there should be signs of strength and the rest of the market are running shorts, that creates an opportunity for a possible short squeeze, which is what we're currently seeing over there. So anyway, let's continue. So that's XRP. Then we have Solana. Solana filling our orders, right? Exactly into the 50% level. This is what I just highlighted, right? You hit the 50% level. What is the deltas doing? Negative deltas across the board. If any of you want this information, it is in the Whale Room Discord. Remember, the Whale Room Discord is where we update you, various professional traders over here. We got like 4 or 5 pro traders over there trading traditional markets, crypto, Forex, absolutely everything. And I update you with all of my personal thoughts and what I'm doing in the market. Okay, cool. So we got that. Key support, negative deltas, holding this level. It looks good. Of course, you need to break structure over here. Very, very low time frame. You do have lower lows and lower highs. But as soon as you can start to take out some of these key levels, most notably 168 over there on Solana, then you can expect that your long trade should play out. Next one, SUI. Also fully filling all of the orders over there. I would leave my stops underneath. This one got a little bit sketchy, starting to close multiple candles under the 50% level. But for now, it's holding right there at that $3. That's what you want to hold. You don't want to break and hold any candles below that $3 mark. Again, it got a bit sketchy. You had multiple candle closes there. 2, you didn't get 3. 3 makes a trend. So it's still holding up. Now you need to see SUI get back above 360. All right. Now, the next one. So last time we gave ETH, XRP, Solana, SUI, and then I gave you Nobody Sausage as another opportunity, a real flyer opportunity for you guys over there. And then I gave you, of course, Sonic. And I do think that this is actually maybe one of the most undervalued coins. We've been speaking about it in Whale Room. I'm pretty sure if I go to Josh's section, he's probably written a massive amount about this. So he's also identified this. Let's have a look over here. Where is his last message? I'm pretty sure that he said a whole lot about Sonic over here. But we are seeing the same things, right? One of the things that I was looking at over here was the potential power of 3 scenario. The power of 3 scenario suggests price goes through a long-term reaccumulation range, then it goes through manipulation below the trading range. How deep it goes is anybody's guess, but my guess is that it shouldn't go much lower than this. And then as soon as you deviate back into the trading range, you begin to look for expansion. Now, fundamentally, I think that this is a rock solid project, previously called Phantom, now called Sonic. Remember, they did rebrand. The second that you start to reclaim that trading range is indicative that it's probably going to move in a big way. And we do have our trades filled over there. So if we line that up, we can make a little bit of a tighter trend line over there, giving you an early warning signal. Of course, remember the Monday range strategy. We need to wait for everything to play out this week. But there it is. There's your low time frame trading range. If this does start to break that trend line over there, simultaneously, you could be breaking back into the trading range, which is classified as your deviation. Once you've deviated and you've reclaimed that strong horizontal over there, it's all systems go. What is the level? 37. 37.6. That's the level. You want to reclaim 37 cents. And if you get back above that level, that's the deviation complete. Any pullbacks over there become buying opportunities. Stop losses go below. I already have a very, very, very small position opened over here, but I would be looking to potentially scale that up off of this kind of a move, right? If we see something like that, low, high, low, potential bump and run, similar to what we're seeing across the board with the rest of the market. So that is Sonic. Sonic looking really, really good. Those are the 5 that we've been focusing on. I do believe, despite being, somebody that's probably bashed XRP a lot, it's more just because of the cult-like following of the holders. But those are probably the 5 best-looking charts right now. ETH, barring Bitcoin, of course, barring Bitcoin. If you're going outside of Bitcoin, it's ETH, XRP, Solana, SUI, and Sonic in that order. That's why I put it like that. Those are probably the top 5 that I'd be looking at over there. Okay, so let's continue. What else have we got over here? We're also looking at the momentum oscillators. Part of the reason why we're looking for a bit of a pullback is we started to get that move up, and we wanted to look for the bullish waves, right? We wanted to see something like that. Similar to price action in terms of putting in high lows, we want the momentum oscillator to do something very similar. And you can see we've started to get that on ETH. So you got your money flow still rising towards the upside on ETH, which is good, showing new money is coming into the market. You've had a nice reset of the momentum oscillator. You've got your VWAP, which is starting to cross back above the 0 line over there, and that is looking good. If we look at XRP, same thing over here, right? Look at that. You got your money wave starting to curl back up. Money wave is moving towards the upside over here. VWAP is crossing up. Momentum oscillator rolling over. Same thing on Solana. Solana even getting a green dot over there, showing possible extra strength. These are on the daily timeframes. SUI still needs a bit more work to do to clip back towards the upside. But if we look over here, money flow wanting to cross back above the 0. VWAP still rising over there. And that is looking decent. Okay. Green dot over here, green dot over here as well on Sonic. Therefore, still looking decent. Still looking decent over here. Money flow and the momentum oscillator is still putting in high lows. All in all, that's looking good. Money flow is still in the red, but this has got a lot of work to do to get towards the upside, which is why I think it's still so undervalued. I think this could put in some sizable moves. So all in all, that's looking good. We spoke about as well of course, funding rate. The funding rate, when it goes negative after trying to form a range low, any of those negative fundings on an hourly time frame become very, very good buy opportunities. So that is essentially your range low for ETH. So maybe you do reject one more time. This is the order block that led to the breakdown. In the short term, based around the Monday range trading strategy, if you do reject from there and you come back down one more time to put in negative funding, that's going to be yet another opportunity for those of you that did miss out. And you can do this for any of your coins. I'm not going to go through all of them, but have a look at the negative funding on the hourly time frame for ETH, for Solana, Sui, XRP, and Sonic. Okay, and that you can do on Velo charts for free, by the way, guys. Any of you can do that for free. Okay, what else? What else have we got? So other things to look out for is OpenGPU. Remember, they do have a big event coming up this week. I did speak about this. We have, of course, if you have a look at this, pretty cool. This is in, let's just mute that over there. This is the Super AI conference in Singapore, which is starting now this week, over the 18th and 19th of June, coming up in 2 days. They are going to be introducing the OpenGPU computing protocol. And on top of that, they're going to announce a big hackathon over there. I think this is one to watch. Remember, this is still very, very, very low market cap. Starting to move nicely today, right? Up, 17% in the last 7 days. So nice reaccumulation range, sub $5 million market cap coin. Okay. Fully diluted valuation is still very, very, very low. All right. What else? What else have we got? What else have we got is we have, of course, Whale School. Whale School starts today. For those of you that have not yet joined Whale School, there's a link in the description below. It's entirely free. If you haven't done it, do it. Even if you have done it, feel free to come back if you want a refresher. We're always covering new market relevant things. We're going to begin in 4 hours time. So there's a link below. Use that. It's completely free for any of you that do want to join into Whale School over there. All right. What else? What else have we got over here? Okay. I think we've been through most things. Let's quickly review Nobody Sausage over here. So Nobody Sausage still holding up. The last thing I covered over here for you guys, it's just consolidating after the initial move. Basically, that's the bottom of wave 2. So we had wave 1. Wave 2 comes all the way down into key support. It's holding that. You don't want to see price break back below. And if the rest of the market does actually break out over here, we expect that this becomes wave 3. All right, up to just under 12 cents. Just under 12 cents. 𝗏𝗛𝗎 Millionaire says, 𝗏𝗛𝗎 isn't a meme. I'll definitely take your word for that, especially if you are the 𝗏𝗛𝗎 Millionaire. And yes, I agree. It's not a meme. All right, cool, guys. Let me know in the comments what else. We'll see if there's any other chart requests to quickly squeeze in before we go. Otherwise, yeah, all of this is looking good. Let's quickly review Tesla. How's Tesla looking over here on the weekly time frame? So Tesla is still chopping about. Let's maybe go into the dailies. All in all, that looks just like it's consolidating. Not much to comment over here. Tesla just consolidating. Very, very, very big trading range. So, of course, this 50% level is going to be very, very key. If it does come back down into about 260, probably a decent opportunity. Okay, let's have a look at Hype. I know some of you say Hype. I know Hype has done very, very well. I just haven't really been calling it or saying anything about it because, you know, I wouldn't really want people to ape in, you know, what could end up becoming a local top. If you look at this from low to high, you know, almost 400% move. So when it does pull back, it will probably pull back into this region over here, about 31. But Hype, very, very, very strong. If you're in this, great. Keep holding. Very, very strong. This is your breakout level. You want to see that hold. If you close candles above here, it's just going to continue to mark up with the rest of the market. Let's have a look at Hype in terms of the momentum oscillators. You know, it's still very, very strong. But yeah, it's heated. It's very, very, very heated, right? How much longer can they maintain this momentum? Okay, we can have a look at some of the other memes. Let's just see what they look like, just out of curiosity, where they're at. So still great value, right? If the market were to run, you know, Pepe all the way back down at key support. MOG up 10%, still attempting to hold that level. This is the last area that we looked at. So shook out a little bit further with the all the war news, but trying to break back into that overall trend. What other ones have we got over here? How's FARTCOIN doing? Okay, tested the support area, started to move over there, just chopping about. If the market breaks out, it's probably going to move into new all-time highs. Remember, your metric to determine, you know, where the market is at is to look at where is our total chart. Total 1, 2, and 3. Here it is. Total 1, 2, and 3. If total 1 is going to move towards the upside, there's new money coming into the market. We can look at SPX. I'm sure it's doing very, very well. Here's SPX. Okay, about to break into new all-time highs. Very, very strong. Very good. Closing candles over here inevitably means it's probably going to continue to mark up. What you can do is you can work on fib extensions. This is going to be a big level to flip. I can already see the potential for cup and handle formation, right? So beautiful rounded bottom over there. Any throwbacks or pullbacks into here will form the handle, and then it's probably going to just mark up higher. All right. Okay, we have been through a lot. We've been through a lot over here. We're 35 minutes in. Let's see if there's anything else. What else? Okay, let's look at POPCAT. We'll quickly check out POPCAT. POPCAT was deleted off the list, I believe, which meant that it didn't make the cut. We try to leave the things that look relatively decent, but let's pull it up. We'll pull up POPCAT. Let's quickly see what it looks like. POPCAT over here. So yeah, I mean, it's all the way at the bottom, and let's go on the daily time frame. It's just chopping about. That was the reason we took it off the list, right? Because there's a lot of other coins that are much stronger already, trading back towards their highs. So POPCAT, it's just range bound. It's just holding around the range over here. There's no strong trending move or anything that we can look at yet. That's why I had it off the list. We just did SPX 6900. All right, guys. Other than that, that is it from me. I'll see you all on the next one. I hope you have a great day. For the rest of you, I'll catch you on Whale School for the workshop. If you're not already in Whale School, use the link below. I'd love to see you there. And I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a great day and cheers.